Hey everyone, now that we know that Ibuki is delayed for the end of June, I thought it'd be a great idea to make a nostalgic breakdown video since I'll have more than enough time to make one before she's released. So we'll be going over the usual, her normals, specials, V-skill, and V-trigger, and shoutouts to Winter Stays On and Capcom Pro Talk for giving me a good head start with the footage available. So what kind of archetype is Ibuki? Well, in Street Fighter V, she's a close-range pixie with a large amount of tools, high damage, and mix-up options. All of these tools come with a cost though, as Ibuki only has 900 health, putting her with Cammy and Karen as one of the lowest HP characters in the game. Let me show you guys a preview of her idle stance, as well as her taunt. You guys will be happy to know that Ibuki in Street Fighter V has above average walk speed both forward and back. Ibuki's forward dash is a very small hop forward that barely covers any ground, and is also the same for her backdash as well. This is very different from her command dash, so you can easily distinguish the two. Also, Ibuki still leaves a silhouette of herself in her last position before doing the dash or the backdash. Now let's look at Ibuki's normal throws. Ibuki's forward throw throws the opponent over her shoulder and she still remains fairly close to the opponent. When thrown in the corner, she remains right beside the opponent. Ibuki's back throw steals her old neckbreaker special animation and sets quite a fair amount of distance from the opponent. Ibuki also has an air throw, which separates the most amount of distance from the opponent. Alright, so let's look at Ibuki's normal attacks now. Let's start with Standing Light Punch. Ibuki's Standing Light Punch has pretty decent range, and is also confirmed to be a 3-frame startup. It can also chain into itself, and is also cancelable. Now we're looking at Ibuki's Standing Medium Punch, which is also cancelable, and can also link into a Standing Light Kick, which means it's at least +4 on hit. Next up is Ibuki's Standing Hard Punch, which is also cancelable. Ibuki slightly moves forward, which allows it easier to connect into combos. In Street Fighter IV, Ibuki's Standing Hard Punch used to hit with her elbow, but this animation looks more like her far Standing Hard Punch target combo, her Hard Punch that did 2 hits. Now we have Ibuki's Standing Light Kick, which is assumed to be a 4-frame startup. It is also cancelable, and as you can see from the animation, it is her Spin Kick command normal, the forward light kick from Street Fighter IV, so her Standing Light Kick has a lot more range in Street Fighter V. Now you're looking at Ibuki's Standing Medium Kick. This normal is not cancelable and it doesn't seem to link into anything. I think its main purpose is to convert right into her sweep target combo. Next up we have Ibuki's Standing Hard Kick. This is one of her crush counters that causes a staggered state, which allows you to continue ground combos. The downside of this attack is that it whiffs on crouching opponents, so it's mostly used as a reversal punisher. Thanks to the added range to Ibuki's Standing Hard Punch, you can easily link into it after the crush counter. Moving on to crouching normal attacks, let's start with Ibuki's Crouching Light Punch. Ibuki's Crouching Light Punch is assumed to be a 4-frame startup and also chains into itself. Next up we have Ibuki's Crouching Medium Punch, which is still cancelable just like it was in Street Fighter IV. It doesn't seem as active as it used to be, but you can clearly see it now has a faster startup. Moving on to Ibuki's Crouching Hard Punch, it is cancelable and you don't need a super jump this time to do that. It also seems like a possible anti-air option, but the startup looks slow. Now you're looking at Ibuki's Crouching Light Kick, her Crouching Medium Kick, which doesn't seem like you can special cancel out of it, and her Crouching Hard Kick, which is also a crush counter on counter hit just like any other character, and it looks super minus on block. Now let's look at jumping normals. This is Ibuki's Jumping Light Kick, which is one of her cross-up options. Next we have Ibuki's Jumping Medium Kick, which is her second cross-up option. Now you're looking at Ibuki's Jumping Hard Kick. I'm going to assume this next attack is Ibuki's jumping light punch, but I'm not completely sure. If that was jumping light punch, then I'm going to assume that this is a jumping medium punch. Finally, we have Ibuki's jumping hard punch. Okay, so let's move on to Ibuki's command normals now. Let's start with her back medium punch. It's pretty much the same as it was in Street Fighter 4, as it's her go-to anti-air, and it does up to 2 hits. The first hit puts your opponent into a juggle state, which you can cancel the first hit as well into a command dash, a Raida, or a DP. You can also choose to cancel the second hit into the command dash instead, and create a possible reset situation on the ground. This anti-air is actually very flexible for Ibuki, and you can get a lot of damage from this, unlike a lot of other characters in Street Fighter 5. You can cancel the first hit into V-trigger and then juggle into Raida, which links into the bomb and then can follow up with a super for a massive amount of damage for just an anti-air. Now we're looking at Ibuki's forward medium kick. This is her traditional overhead. It still has a large startup, but it seems to be only -2 on block. As you can see, it's +3 on hit, which allows you to link a standing light punch even if your opponent is standing. Moving on to Ibuki's forward hard kick, this is now one of Ibuki's crush counters. It puts your opponent to a juggle state, which you can follow up with a Raida or super afterwards. This move is said to be punishable on block, but it does have a large amount of pushback. It also looks high profile, so it probably does beat a lot of low attacks, and it also seems very active, so it might be a very good meaty option. Finally, we have Ibuki's down forward medium kick. This is her traditional slide. This attack must be blocked low, and I'm not sure if she's low enough to go under certain projectiles. Just like most slides, it's safe unblocked if spaced correctly, and you can even link a standing light punch when spaced correctly in the corner. Alright, let's talk about Ibuki's target combos now. She has quite a bit. Let's start with standing light punch into medium punch into light kick. This target combo is a true block string. It seems minus, but they said it's still safe on block. It is not cancelable, but you can cancel it into V-trigger. Next we have standing light punch into medium punch into hard punch. This will most likely be Ibuki's go-to target combo as it's cancelable. It's very similar to the Street Fighter 4 version, except before the medium punch used to do 2 hits and the hard punch was the crouching hard punch animation. Now we have a new target combo, standing medium kick into crouching hard kick into hard kick. In Street Fighter 4, this used to convert off of a standing light punch into standing medium punch, or a close hard punch. But now since standing medium kick is no longer cancelable in Street Fighter 5, this looks like its main use now. The last hit of this target combo knocks your opponent up into the air, and you can cancel it into a command dash for various mix-up situations. However, since it is the standing hard kick animation, it will still whiff on crouching opponents. If you cut this target combo short and just end it on the sweep, if the opponent blocks it, it will be of course extremely punishable. Moving on to another new target combo, crouching medium punch into forward hard kick. So far they couldn't find a link after this target combo. It's not even cancelable, even in V-trigger. Perhaps it is a good buffer for poking with crouching medium punch since her neck breaker and spin kicks are gone, but honestly nobody's really found a use for it. Now we're looking at standing medium punch into forward medium kick. This used to be back medium kick into forward medium kick in Street Fighter 4, but Ibuki no longer has her back medium kick command normal. This target combo is used to give your opponent less time to react to your overhead since you are cancelling it from a normal attack. I can see it especially useful when you have your V-trigger bomb out and you're trying to go for a reset. I'm not sure if you can still link it to a standing light punch afterwards since it's a target combo and the frame data is probably different. Finally, we have jumping hard punch into hard kick. This looks like it'll be mostly used as a juggle finisher as it's probably too slow as a jumping attack string. Now let's talk about Ibuki's special moves. Ibuki lost a lot of her old special moves such as her super jump is now gone, her neck breaker is gone, spin kicks which was the Sumuji is gone, her Hien is gone, that's the move where she jumped up and did that overhead attack with the 2 kicks, and her jumping cross up move is gone. So let's begin with Ibuki's kunai, her projectile. This is done by quarter circle forward and punch. As you can see, Ibuki can now throw the kunais on the ground, and they go at a downward angle. The strength determines the distance. The downward angle is in fact so low that it can actually go underneath other projectiles at specific distances. It is also said to be pretty safe on block when cancelling normals into the kunai, and it also creates a lot of pushback. The EX version of the kunai has a small explosive bomb tied to it, and it explodes right after the kunai hits the ground. This EX kunai has two separate hitboxes, one for the kunai itself and a second for the explosion. If the opponent is hit by the explosion, it will knock him up in the air and put him into a juggle state. The EX kunai has three separate ranges that is determined by which two punch buttons that you press at the same time. This is important to note because if you throw the far version, for example, when you're standing right next to your opponent, the kunai will pierce to the opponent and hit him, but the explosive part will whiff. If you force your opponent to block the explosive part of the kunai, it will cause a high amount of block stun and give you a lot of frame advantage and allow you to continue pressure. Of course, Ibuki can still do the normal and EX versions in the air just like she could before. However, the EX version of the air kunai is the one with the explosive bomb and not the 2-hit one like it was in Street Fighter 4. This strength determines the distance that you throw it, and you can only throw a kunai or EX version while jumping forward. You cannot do it while neutral jumping, and you cannot do it while jumping back. There is also a height restriction as well, so you can't TK it. As you guys can also see, you can still do your classic cross-up air kunai mix-up, but of course it's no longer a vortex since it's extremely limited, since you need a hard knockdown such as a crouching hard kick crush counter, and of course you can't repeat this in the combo. Now the advantage of a fast moving character like Ibuki having a ground and an air projectile comes at a cost. Ibuki now has a limitation of only being able to carry 6 kunais at once, and you can see there's a new stock meter right beside the V gauge. Throwing a ground or air, normal or EX version of her kunai will decrease her stock by 1. Ibuki does have the ability to refill her stocks though. By inputting core circle back and kick, she'll refill 1 kunai. If you continue to hold down the kick button, Ibuki will continue to refill stocks until finally she will refill all 6 kunais. Ibuki is very vulnerable when she is refilling the kunais, so you want to set apart a good amount of distance if you're planning to refill all 6 stocks. Ibuki also has the ability to throw all her remaining kunais at once. To do the ground version, simply charge a punch button and then release. This is similar to Birdie's Bullhorn or Cody's Zonk Knuckle. The light punch version will throw all the kunais in the same direction forward. Releasing the medium punch button will throw all the kunais forward in a wall in a kind of fan-like formation. Releasing the hard punch will throw all the kunais upward at a 45-degree angle. To do the air version of this attack, simply charge a kick button and then release. The light kick version will throw all the kunais in the same downward direction. The medium kick version will throw the kunais in a wall formation downwards, and the hard kick version makes a huge spread that covers almost the entire screen. If the opponent is hit by any of the ground or air versions, they're put into a juggled state, which you can combo afterwards. The opponent can also still attack the normal kunai out of the air, and if you're completely out of stocks of kunai, you can actually still throw it and you'll just get a whiffed throw animation. Next up, we have Ibuki's returning uppercut special, the Kazegiri. This is done with a DP motion with kick. Just like before, the normal version of this has no invincibility and is not used as a reversal. It is simply combo filler. The EX version, however, does have invincibility and it can be used as both an anti-air and reversal. Because of this trait, the EX version is counter hit on recovery. The EX version also has the added bonus to be able to cancel out into the EX version of the kunai, but only on hit and only at the peak of its height. This will of course cost you 2 stocks of EX meter, but it will allow you to further juggle your opponent afterwards into either releasing all your kunais at once or dashing or command dashing into other follow-ups. Ibuki now has a new special move that allows her to float in the air like a flying squirrel. This is done by pressing 2 kicks at the same time at the peak of your jump. You cannot cancel this float into any normal attacks. You can only cancel it into a kunai, but only at the end portion of it. Ibuki also has some recovery during this when she's about to land, and you can only do this while jumping forward. This is basically used to change Ibuki's jump trajectory when baiting anti-airs, for example. Another returning special, Ibuki's Raida. This is done, I'm assuming, with quarter circle back punch. It was half circle back punch in Street Fighter 4. This is Ibuki's hit grab, which means it puts your opponent into a grabbing animation, but it can be blocked. This is mainly used as a damaging combo ender, It knocks your opponent a fair distance away depending on the strength you use. The light version gives you the best advantage on wake up because you're closest to the opponent. The EX version is actually a little different than Street Fighter 4. Ibuki actually dashes forward a little bit, giving it more range. Finally, let's talk about Ibuki's command dash special, which is a little different than it was before. This is done with core circle forward and kick, and the strength determines the direction and distance you go. The light kick version will make Ibuki dash a very short distance, and it cannot cross up the opponent. The medium kick version will dash a further distance and it will allow you to cross through your opponent to the other side. The hard kick version will make Ibuki jump up in the air at a 45-degree angle and allow you to follow up a cross-up attack or a jumping attack. This is kind of similar to Chun-Li's V skill. Since Ibuki has so many normal attacks that are cancelable, as well as 3 distinct different command dashes at different angles, this will allow Ibuki to create a lot of mix-up situations. Let's talk about Ibuki's super now. I'm going to assume it's done with core circle forward twice into kick. Ibuki starts off with a sliding kick attack, and if it hits the opponent it will snag them into animation. This super can also be easily juggled into and has a very large hitbox. You can also apparently hit confirm and link this into a max range kunai. The Ibuki blog explanation of this super says that the first hit is a low attack, however during Capcom Pro Talk they tested this and were able to block it high. Perhaps it's just unfinished and it will be a low attack during launch. Let's talk about Ibuki's V system now. Let's start with her V skill. Ibuki lunges forward and does a key strike from her palm. The range is increased the longer you hold down the medium buttons. This also nullifies one-hit projectiles. In fact, this V skill is pretty much exactly like Karen's V skill. Ibuki's V skill will also cause a knockdown on hit, builds about a third of 1 bar of V gauge, and can also be cancelled into V trigger. Moving on to Ibuki's V reversal, I'm going to assume this is done with forward and 3 kicks. Ibuki replaces herself with a log that launches forward kind of like a projectile. This causes a knockdown on hit, and the range of this is actually pretty big. After the log hits, Ibuki appears right in front of the log, right beside the opponent. Alright, so for the grand finale, let's talk about Ibuki's V trigger. Ibuki's V trigger makes her throw a ticking time bomb. It also costs 3 bars of V gauge. The distance she throws this bomb cannot be manipulated, but the time that it ticks can. There are 3 different bomb ticking speeds. I'm assuming it's 2, 4, and 6 game seconds, and they can be altered by pressing back, down, or forward with V trigger. The very first V trigger activation will cause a screen freeze, allowing you to easily combo into the bomb. After the initial activation, your V gauge will turn into a timer. The timer will slowly drain, and it will allow you to throw 1 more additional bomb which will deplete your entire V gauge afterwards, so 2 bombs total. The second bomb throw will not cause a screen freeze, making it a lot harder to combo into. When the bomb explodes, it will knock your opponent up into a juggle state, which you can still continue to combo afterwards. The explosion of the bomb can even hit the opponent when he's lying on the ground, causing an OTG. This is very rare in Street Fighter 5. After throwing the bomb will continue to tick to whatever time you set it to. As it comes closer to its detonation, it'll start rapidly flashing yellow. Ibuki can slowly move the bomb forward with crouching attacks, and can make the bomb explode immediately with an EX kunai. Ibuki also has the advantage of not worrying about the bomb, as the explosion cannot hurt yourself. The flexibility of this V trigger allows for a lot of extended combos, mix-ups, and trickery with the different timers, and is an excellent addition to Ibuki's toolset. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Ibuki. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video guys, and hopefully you found this information useful. I'm actually pretty excited for Ibuki myself, and we can expect her to be out there in the last week of June. Also, if you guys don't already know, they've shown a preview of Ibuki's story mode costume. Take care everyone, and I'll see you guys next time.